I'm Colin,
And I'm Megan.
and this is Pet-Sitter Confessional, an open and honest discussion about life as a pet sitter. On this week's episode, I sit down with Beth and Alex, two amazing people who have been on quite a journey with their pet sitting business over the last several years. We cover way too many topics for me to give a simple introduction to this, so I'm just going to leave you with the phrase, bubbles and nuts. I hope you guys enjoy.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Colin.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
Great. Beth's
Good.
here too.
Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Well, we're excited to get to connect with you tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this, and just hearing about you guys and learning from you about all that you've done too.
It's been an adventure for sure.
Yeah, cool. Tell me about how you guys got started in pet sitting and what it's been like all this time.
So we've been married for a little bit over 11 years, together for 15. We met in Boston, and at that point, Beth had already done pet sitting at different times in her life. I had grown up at different times with some cats, and I was always allergic. And my dad in Texas had horses. I was highly allergic. So it was not something I ever thought we were going to do. And a few things came together at the end of 2017. Actually, today is second year anniversary of my dad passing when we were in Florida at the time. And it was right about the time we said, where are we going next? You know, we've been here in Florida for a little while helping my parents. Where are we going next? We knew we didn't want to settle. We didn't want to lease and furnish. We knew we wanted to spend time with animals. We had done a number of side pet sittings over the years, and we discovered pet sitting. Beth actually discovered it. Do you remember who it was?
Yeah, I actually found somebody on YouTube, and I started following her. And then I started having conversations with her privately, and she told me about this website. And I would often watch videos of her with dogs and cats. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to look into the website. And I told Alex about it. And I had already been doing pet sitting for friends and family. And I mean, we would travel for it. We went to Hawaii to pet sit. We went to Boston to pet sit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was always a really great, we both, I love animals. Alex loves animals, but was always allergic. Luckily Claritin is available.
Yeah. So we started pet sitting pretty much full time at the end of 2017. I started taking allergy medications, and it was a miracle. And the cats and the dogs, it was no problem. And I was able to start really getting to know them, and it was fascinating. And we said, basically, we're going to keep doing this as long as it makes sense and as long as it's easy. And it has now been 2 years of full-time, no home base pet sitting.
Yeah, it's worked out better than we could have ever imagined.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, tell me a little bit more about having no home-based pet sitting and how that's worked out for you guys.
Well, fortunately, we had already been practicing living lightly. When we moved from California to Hawaii, we got rid of and sold everything. When we left Hawaii for Florida, we got rid of a few more things. And when we went from Florida to Boston and started pet sitting, we had one small suitcase each and a backpack. I was actually a bit worried because I had lived in Boston for 8 years. Beth is from Boston. I didn't want to go back to the winters, and I didn't want to get all the clothes, to deal with the winter.
Bulk back up for all that, yeah.
So it was sort of like playing Batman in a sense. We got just the right stuff to be super optimized in the cold. We traveled super light, and then realized, hey, we also have food to deal with. And sometimes we have a little bit of food left over after a sit. So now we were carrying 1 or 2 small Trader Joe's bags around. And after a while, we realized we were buying so much water, so much filtered water at places, and then walking them to the homes. One day I realized, let's get our own small filter.
Yeah.
So we started realizing we need to take a few little things with us, like sponge filters and a few, a small mobile pantry, but we basically lived super light, ready to go at a moment's notice, able to pack up real quick and settle in really quickly, and just focus on the animals and what they needed and what the home needed.
And I think at first, we were a little bit nervous on, okay, we completely 100% are remote and, rely on pet sitting for where we're going to stay. And at first it was sort of like, oh, how's that going to work? And then, I don't know, just magically, it just fills itself in. We started getting repeat business all the time. And because there's two of us, if there's a day or two overlap, that's really super easy because he starts one, I end the other, and it's just a day or two. And it's since then, it's just never been an issue. It's never been a problem. It just always fills itself in.
Yeah, that's great that you guys have each other to tag team to meet those needs of your clients. Is that a strength you see that you have compared to other sitters?
Well, I can't imagine doing exactly what we're doing if someone was alone, just because can't really get one sit to line up with the next. So when we have overlap, it works out. If we have a few days of gap and we do an Airbnb or a hotel, it works out. So the partnership really smooths things out.
And I think if you're single, you can do it. It's easier to do a gap than an overlap. So I think you need to, if you are a single person doing it, it's just you need to make a choice because you don't ever want to overcommit and leave a pet that needs care. That's our number one concern is make sure that the pets are cared for and the owners are happy.
Right. So kind of along those same lines, as you've juggling all these things going on, what's kind of been, and you've touched on this a little bit as far as making the adjustments to this, but what's kind of been the hardest part about continuing to do this over time?
At first, there was some fear. Are we going to find something in time? I remember there was actually, when we first started, we were probably 3 or 4 sits in, and we were in Boston, and we didn't have a place lined up yet. And the day kept getting closer and kept getting closer, and we were really, really nervous. And then something came through literally the day before for the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And so this sense of like, we can't plan it, we're not in control. That was for both of us a lot of anxiety at the beginning, and we really learned to trust over time. The second thing I think that was challenging, it was sort of unconditioning ourselves that the right way to live is this traditional way of having a home and having a home base, and all these sort of false, like we project we need a home or a home base to feel secure and safe. And we shifted that over time. It took a while, but we really shifted that to, well, no, home is where we are. Home is everywhere, and home is where I am. And so that also started to create a lot more trust, a lot more creativity, and reduced the fears.
Yeah, that's really cool how kind of pet sitting came in here and went along tandem with some of these other things that you guys were working through and realizing that weren't necessarily pet sitting related, but were just more lifestyle like. And this was really able to come and help fill you guys in and work well with that. Absolutely. And some of the challenges early on with the animals themselves were just, what is it like to get to know them quickly and understand their needs? There was one dog that we didn't expect any trouble. We've never expected any trouble with any of the animals. And the owners just had a really good expectation. Well, when we got there and the owners left, the dog got very, very frightened, just super anxious. She's a pretty small. She's
a rescue.
She's a rescue, and Jack Russell, right? She's a little nervous disposition anyway. And what happened was that for almost 3 days, she would not let us put a leash on, and so we couldn't take her out.
Oh man!
So I started. I work from home. Beth tends to go somewhere for work, and so I started watching some YouTube videos. How do you deal with this? And I spent hours for a couple of days going to Whole Foods, getting great roasted chicken, and then bribing the heck out of this dog and just inoculating her to me and to the leash. We end up spending a few weeks with that dog, and now every time we go back, because we get lots of callbacks, this dog remembers us, which blows the minds of the owners, and she's so sweet. We are so in love with her.
She's one of our favorites.
Oh, and that's so great. You guys started off kind of on such rocky terms, and to have put in all that effort to see it pay off on the back end, that's really awesome.
So rewarding.
Yeah. So that's one of the good experiences. It's not always fuzzy out there. Have you had any stuff that's kind of gone sour on while you've been pet sitting?
I think
I think the very, very first time, and this actually, I don't think we've ever had a bad experience overall with an animal, besides, in the very beginning, I mean, they're scared, and rightly so, right? Who are you people?
Mm-hmm.
So, making them comfortable is our number one priority. But the one bad experience I had was when I didn't do my homework. It was my very first pet sit, and Alex was still in Florida and I was in Boston. And I quickly did an interview over the phone, and so I went there the next day. It was sort of an emergency situation, so I had just agreed to it before, because normally I like to at least do a Zoom or meet them or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the dirtiest place I've ever seen in my life.
Oh no!
It was. I'm sorry, but it was so dirty that I went out and I bought sheets, and I just slept on top of what I bought, and that was a good learning lesson to not only are they interviewing you, but you also need to be comfortable and interview them. And I would say that was probably the one bad sit that I've had.
Yeah, that interview process is, you don't think about it, that you have the power to say yes or no to clients. And at first, I know for Megan and I, we felt like we had to say yes to everybody who walked through the door, regardless of how dirty it turned out or how little they were willing to pay. And over time, kind of becoming more empowered to say, you know what, I don't have to take that. That's but that's a learning lesson that I think we all have to go through over time. So I'm kind of interested in understanding a little bit about the mechanics of how you guys go about finding clients and working through those meet and greets and going through that procedure. So could you kind of walk through how all that takes place?
We've done it a couple of ways. We're part of an online community called Trusted House Sitters, and it's international. And actually, that lady that I befriended on YouTube, she introduced me to that, and it's been a very good experience. The second way is that people that we meet request us. I've actually, a couple of people that I worked with now have saying, "Oh, can you come and sit for us?" And it's worked out really well. And then the third way is that we get a lot of repeat business. We've probably done about 90-something sits in the past 2 years, and I would say a third of those are repeat.
Wow, that's great. That's a huge retention with clients.
Yeah, we have we have 30-something reviews on the site, and every single one of them is a 5-star review. And we do everything in our power to make sure that it's like, hey, this is our goal, to provide you with the best service possible. What can we do to make that happen? And knock on wood, so far we've been able to obtain that. That's
really great. That's really stellar to have that many reviews and have it be like that. So what does that look like when you're in someone's home? A lot of times when I tell people that we house sit or we travel and do that kind of stuff to take care of pets, a lot of people just kind of envision us sitting around the house, eating the person's food and watching TV with the dog. But how do you, what's that experience like to be in someone else's home watching their dog?
It's a privilege. So I'll contrast it with going to a hotel, right? So we go to a hotel, and it's sort of like, hey, look at this cool space that we get to be in. We get to take advantage of, and look what they've made with the place.
Right.
When we come into a home, it's more like how can we honor this place? It's like what does this place want? I'm very much interested in it's like, what does this place have to offer? How does it fit the animal? And so one of the first things we do is just make sure like we're okay. Here's a first check the sponge. If the sponge in the kitchen, I mean, don't even look around, but if you go, because we are both of us a bit of clean freak. So sometimes a place will look clean and tidy, and then a couple days in, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, hold on. So I've definitely done my share of cleaning in the first couple of days. But you go and you check the sponge, and that'll tell you a whole lot about the entire house.
Our main goal is to honor the people, honor the animal, know that we're there. It's actually the animal's house. It's not us there watching the animal. So, how can we make the cat, the dog, the bird, the reptile, feel like, okay, I'm safe, I'm in good hands. Let me have fun while my people are on vacation, and then do the best that we can to leave the place and the dog or the cat or whatever in a better place than when we got there.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to find like where's the animal like to sleep? Where are the toys? Where's the food? Not just for logistical reasons, but like where's this animal like to be? And how can we quickly start having an easy time with the animal?
While honoring the rules of the owners, right? Because we've gotten lied to. The dog does not belong on the couch, but we've gotten lied to.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. No, she never chews on anything at all. Or, yeah. Yeah. No, I love that idea of remembering to honor the house, honor the surroundings. For me, it's always been, as soon as you start seeing the pictures of the family that lives there, or those things that start popping out, it's like, yeah, I'm the visitor here, and this person has placed a massive amount of trust and responsibility on my shoulders that I have to make sure that I live up to that, because this is not just a fly by the seat of your pants kind of thing. It is honoring and respecting what is around you.
And just, I think a good rule of thumb for us is that whether there's a camera or not, we always like to act as if there is. And what I mean by that is, don't do anything that you wouldn't want on camera ever. That helps keep yourself in check. Like make sure you're doing everything possible to make the house feel honored.
Yeah. And I know the whole camera thing is it's a hot topic among pet sitters, whether some people will not accept a client if they have cameras in the house because they're kind of weirded out by that. But I know that can go both ways of if I was having someone in my house, sometimes I'm like, well, it might be nice to make sure they're doing what they're doing. But I like the idea of just always having the idea in the back of your brain that whether I'm watched or not, it's about respecting that place and making sure you're being professional in all that you do.
Yeah. And we've been in both. We've been in places with cameras and without. Generally, we know when there is a camera, just because we're sort of now in the house. So if we take a shower, we want to make sure we're not walking around in a towel. But I remember one time we were sitting on a couch together, and we were with a dog. And we knew there was a camera, but we didn't expect the people to come on the camera and start talking to us.
Oh no!
They literally said, "You can enjoy the bigger couch if you want," and we were like, "What the heck?"
That's terrifying.
But for the most part, anytime someone's had a camera, they've let us know, and they've said, "Go ahead and just turn it off." We've never had a real issue.
So you've been hearing us talk a lot about Orgain. And we really love their products, and I want to highlight a specific product. They're simple, clean bars. These bars have just a few ingredients like dates, peanut flour, almond butter, chia, almonds. They're really, really good, and they are vegan, dairy-free, soy-free, non-GMO, organic, and we just love them so much. Our kids love them. We love them. They're a great snack on the go when we're out walking dogs or doing drop-ins. They come in 3 different flavors: chocolate almond sea salt, blueberry almond, and chocolate peanut butter. My personal favorite is the blueberry almond. I really like blueberries, and it's just a delicious way to get in all that protein. So if you would like to order from Orgain.com, you'd get 30% off and free shipping with the code ambassador254. This is an ongoing discount, not a sale that ends. So if you order every month like we do, and then you can keep using the code. And it's ambassador254 for free shipping and 30% off at Orgain.com.
You guys have had such a wide variety of experiences. At this point, what's something that you wish you would have known back in 2017 when you started doing this, really, really going after it?
For me, it would be not to get so worried about the timing because it just works out. And if you have a day or two or even a week, there's always Airbnb. So just don't get so stressed out about it. That's just logistical.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And one of my favorite, besides having a water filter that you can carry around with you, like a little Brita, the thing that's making me smile is Lyft and Uber if you prefer Uber. But for the first almost the entire time in Boston, which was 7 or 8 months before we moved back to California. So for months, I was the one that would often move our stuff while Beth was at an office. And there was, especially with the Harvard Square, there were times I was wheeling 2 small suitcases and 1 backpack, and Beth would have her backpack. I was wheeling them through snow and slush a mile to get to the train, etc. And it was months before it clicked on me, I can get a Lyft.
Right.
And that was like, oh my God, this is such a miracle. So now, moving from place to place now is such a breeze.
Yeah. It's always great to have a Zoom with the people beforehand. With a dog, we 99% of the time, if we can meet the dog beforehand, we do. I think only once we didn't. But the cats are easier, right? But we just try to if it's possible with a dog, to meet the dog beforehand, just so the dog is comfortable.
Yeah, and to make sure you're comfortable with the dog too. Looking for any sort of those weird tics or behaviors or tells that the dog may have that it's might not be okay to do that. In line with that too is as you think back over these experiences, and I'm curious if you've seen or thought about or witnessed any sort of changes in either expectations of clients or just the overall pet sitting for you as well, kind of at a larger scale of the pet sitting industry. What kind of changes, if you've seen any of those over time, or expectations?
I don't think we've seen expectations. A couple things, like from owners, whatnot. I've noticed. One is we predominantly use trusted house sitters when it comes to finding brand new opportunities online. And I've noticed that there seem to be fewer sits posted there. There was a time that we signed up with Rover. We wanted to explore monetizing it. And it turned out that we couldn't use it because we're moving all over the place. Trusted House Sitters lets us look ahead, months ahead, and reach out on our own. Rover, for us, we had to pick an address, and then we can only be contacted. We could never reach out. And that did not work for us to be able to move from place to place.
Yeah. I was kind of curious as how you came to trusted house sitters, but that explains a lot. If you're trying to live this no home-based life, Rover and other location-based sitting apps and services is just completely out. So that makes total sense.
Yeah, we need to be able to be proactive.
Yeah, and they're international. We've actually been approached by people in Croatia, from the United Kingdom, from Costa Rica. And the one thing is that I need to be 100% remote, and currently I'm not. But the goal is to get there, and then we can totally be internationally remote and global.
And the other thing I've noticed is there do seem to be more, not boarding places, but like dog hotels. So there's a bit more of that now that didn't seem to be there 2 years ago. So I think people have the opportunity to, put their dog in a, nicer place than what's typically thought of as boarding.
Oh, kind of like a boutique pet resort kind of thing that as opposed to just a straight up kennel.
Exactly. Yeah, there's quite a few. I think they're called like WAG hotels here in the Bay Area.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Where's the first place you want to go overseas to house sit with a dog?
Oh, probably Scotland.
Oh, yeah,
I'm open to sheep as well.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is all making sense now.
there have been some farms here, but they're further away. One of our limitations is we need to stay within an hour, commute radius to downtown San Francisco. So, I mean, we don't just go all over the Bay Area. It needs, we're constantly managing. Is this going to work out? Is this close to a way we can commute? We don't have a car. So, we've learned a lot about the buses, the train system, and other ways of getting around.
And I would say 90% of the people that we sit for that are outside of the city are very generous and just say, here, just use our car.
People have been so generous.
Issue,
Yeah. That's, we've had a few clients do that for us we pull up and we've got a little tiny car and they go, well, I've got 3 dogs. Just go ahead. And if you need to do anything, you're take them for a walk. Here's the van or here's the truck. And it's always just, again, that huge wave of, oh, that's a lot of responsibility. And wow, thank you. That's great. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah. And with the car, it's, again, it's like, how do we honor that? And so we end up, making sure that the car is full of gas, it's vacuumed, and we wash it. Try to do what we can to be like, okay, that was a good decision that we let them use our car.
Exactly.
So
yeah, because again, it's not, in a lot of sense, it is all about the pet. But in the larger sense, it's not all about the pet. It's everything else. Especially when you are house sitting, you're sitting their valuables, their place of residence, and everything that goes into that.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and it's important. Like people will appreciate things, but it's important. We found it's important to find a way to let them know some of what we've done for them. So one of these we do is we'll WhatsApp with them, and almost daily, for send one picture, a little comment. So there's a bit of a running narrative, and we'll do a custom thank you card with their pet on it for when we leave, and we'll make a little checkbox, a list of checkboxes of the things we've done for them, just so that there's a sense that they know things are taken care of, not just hope that things were taken care of.
Oh, I love that. I really love that idea. Because there are those times where you put a lot of effort into that, and it's not necessarily an idea of wanting to get recognition back from that, but it's wanting to let them know this is the kind of service that you get with us, and this is what you can expect, and really trying to add the value to each sit. That's not just watching the pet.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why we end up on people's speed dials.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a few times we had, picking up poop in the backyard is typically a very big thing. And we had a few clients that I think in between the times they booked with us, they just never cleaned up the poop in the backyard. There's for a while there, my wife and I were like, do they only book us whenever they need the poop picked up? Because that's a big thing for us, making sure it's spotless in the backyard and that there's nothing left. And so,
Wow.
Yeah. There's always those fun things. Yeah. So, is there any other kind of advice to people either just starting out or maybe someone who's been in it for a while of something they may not have thought of, given your background and all of the great experiences you guys have had that, you'd like to share, or anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, there's 2 things that I'm happy we did at the beginning and improved over time. Our profile, we have a website right now. It connects to our Trusted House Sitters profile, and what we did, we made a video so people could get a quick sense of who we are and our personalities. And, I have a bit of a marketing and holistic business background. So I wanted to put up front, hey, here's what you can count on us for. Here's a little bit of our story. So we were up front with not just like, we want to sit for you, but here's who we are. Here's what you can know about us. And we repeated that idea in our notes that we send them when we're applying, if we're meeting someone for the first time. And we're upfront with, like, right away, your animals will be really taken care of because this, and this. And we make it personal. We look at their information, their details. And so we customize that letter, but it's a bit of a template. And that way they already, for the most part, have made the decision by the time we've met. And I found that really helps us stand out. People really like it. It's a bit of a long letter, but boy, that stands out from anyone who's just saying, we're available and would love to sit for your dog or cat.
So I'm interested to know how you both kind of see your independent backgrounds and experiences, how those have helped in the pet sitting, and how you've seen kind of your individual strengths come together to work as that team.
Well, one for sure is Beth always reads and checks and improves anything I write. So I'll write something to them, not like a daily text, but more of an email, like when we're exchanging at the beginning. And Beth will, add this thoughtfulness and tactfulness. Mine's like, here's the principle, and the two of us together, we really round out some edges that make everything really presentable and seem, make the perceived value match what we believe the value is. Right. So that's one. The communication is one way things have really worked out. A second one is I really enjoy getting our stuff moved from one place to another, having the sense of the logistics that, hey, I'm helping taking care of us in this unique way.
Right.
So I think finding joy in all the different pieces is really important.
Yeah, I think we've gotten really good at, okay, so now that we've met these people, what would make the best difference for them? And we actually talk about that. Like, what can we do to make this a 5-star sit for them?
We also notice oftentimes the animal will prefer one of us, and it's always different. So that by itself is just a fascinating journey. But we'll then leverage that. The dog we're with right now really starts playing when Beth comes back and doesn't run up to me with the balls. Other animals will just jump all over me and forget that Beth's there.
Right. Yeah, I totally relate to that 100%. When my wife and I are sitting together, I'm so thankful that there was someone else there, because I don't know what I would do in that case if the dog's not responding or it's, being aggressive. It's like, I'm so thankful that there's someone over here that the dog actually likes, so that we can continue with this, this sit, because I don't know where else that would go and how that would take place.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true.
Yeah. And I've noticed with us, I kind of relate it back to putting together puzzles. My wife loves puzzles, and she can sit there and with 1,000-piece puzzle in front of her, she puts each individual piece together and can just match them like that. And then I can't do that. I don't have the attention span for that kind of thing. So she's the planner. She's the getting all the ducks lined in a row and scheduling days and that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to the bigger picture, caring for, seeing everything in context, that's a lot of times where I can come in and really help out in those cases. And then it's good to hear that I'm not the only one who has my writing checked by my wife, because if half the things I sent out, weren't checked, it's just abysmal most times. So there's always a 2-stage review process for that.
So helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, is there anything else you guys would like to bring up or wanted to talk about at this time? This has been really helpful for me. I know I'm taking a lot of notes here and going to have a lot of good stuff moving forward from you guys. It's been really helpful.
Well, for me, the way I see things and what I do for work is sort of personal coaching and branding, sort of inner work, really getting people who have big ideas clear on what, who they are, what they really want. And I think I've always approached this process as an opportunity to grow and to bring sort of our standards, our values to the table. And so we said for a while, our lifestyle is champagne and peanut butter. Like we're going to enjoy and appreciate the luxury and the goodness of whatever is there. We're going to do our best to improve things and leave things better than we take it. And I was sharing with someone, that champagne and peanut butter idea is like, okay, but this is too long for a website. And the person said, well, how about bubbles and nuts? And it's like, yeah, that's great. We got bubbles and nuts. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I think like if every pet sitter sort of took a stand for what they believe in terms of like the goodness that they are bringing to the table and named it in a fun way, like whether it's the business name or just something that they know for themselves, I think it really enriches it. It makes the hard times and the poop cleanups much more easy. It's like, hey, this is just a peanut butter moment.
Right.
There's no more bad days. It's just all part of the growth.
Right. Sometimes store brand peanut butter day.
And then the owners benefit because they feel more trust. It works. It's such a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I bubbles and nuts. That's, I love that. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking your time this evening. I learned so much and have a lot of thinking and chewing on stuff to take away from this. So I really do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day and out of your busy schedule to do this.
Well, thank you. It's really nice to connect, especially with other pet sitters. I mean, because honestly, a network of pet sitters or allies. It's so great to just share experiences and say, hey, I can't do this sit. Can you do this sit? It's a community of much needed people.
Right, because a lot of times you can feel really isolated on those days, or if you've got a problem dog or a problem client, if the owner's really giving you something, it's nice to have some other people to reach out to and to troubleshoot those things too as well, so that you don't feel so alone in those tough times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now there's a place to confess our pet sitting passions.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there are times where the people around me, I'm sure, are sick and tired of all the stories that I tell. It's like, this is what I do. I don't have anything else to talk about other than dogs and cats. So it's kind of nice to nerd out on that with other people too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for talking with us.
Well,
thanks to you for creating this.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We've got, excited about where this is going to go and all the people that it can help too. Because, like you said, a community is really important with this. I hope you guys really enjoyed that discussion with Beth and Alex. They're pretty amazing. Follow them on social media. Check out their website, bubblesandnuts.com, and definitely reach out to them. They're a great resource. You can follow Pet Sitter Confessional at petsitterconfessional.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Pet Sitter Confessional, Twitter at PS Confessional. Send feedback to feedback@petsitterconfessional.com, and definitely subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.